Welcome into another episode of the Laser Bros podcast. We are your hosts, Logan and Luke Lazarchik, with another episode this week, November 19th, 2024, Tuesday. We're doing this Tuesday night, almost 7 o'clock. Now, I will say, Luke, at this time next week, you will not be a happy camper once I beat you in fantasy this week. So
Okay.
I just want to give you that.
Someone
up
dropped
before-
170 this week. Someone did that.
And we were the two high scores this week. I dropped 153. If I kept Stafford on my roster instead of trusting Russell Wilson, I would have outscored you. But
Well,
decisions
like that are why I will beat you and why I am currently in second place. And you're not.
That won't last long. We'll probably be flipped by the end of this week. So I just want to give you the heads up there. I don't want to blindside you or anything like that. So, when Luke's in a bad mood next week
of the season,
waiver wire move next week, just know that's why. So I just want to give Luke a heads up there. But we do have another episode this week covering Week 11. There's a lot of key games in Week 11, a lot of big results, like league-changing results too, and changing landscape for the back half of the season. And we are going to do a segment called "Who Would You Rather Be," which Luke will be presenting me, I think, about 8 who would you rather be amongst teams. So we'll do that. And then, of course, we'll close out the episode with our picks for the upcoming slate of games. So let's get it started with this past week, Week 11. And let's start with the Steelers and the Ravens. The Steelers beat Baltimore, and it was a pretty ugly game. It wasn't – I mean, we didn't watch a lot of it. We were watching Sunday Ticket, watching a lot of the other 4 games, but we would keep an eye on it. And it was just a really ugly game from start to finish. And that's usually what these Steelers and Ravens games are. I pointed out last week when I chose the Steelers to beat the Ravens that Lamar Jackson tends to struggle against this defense, and they kind of have his number. And that pretty much transpired again this past week. I believe in the fourth quarter, he was 10 of 30 at one point in the fourth quarter, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the same questions I've had about Baltimore all year pertaining to situationally not running Derrick Henry and their defense, and that was 2 things that stood out to me. Their defense was better this past week, but Derrick Henry only gained 13 carries, I think, was one of the headlines of this game.
Yeah, Henry has to get more carries. I've been a proponent of, I think it's been okay, but this is one of those games where there's no excuse for this one. Henry has to get those carries, and I'm going to assume that they fix it, but yeah, it's not – this one game's like – you may be a wild card team now. Like, I know Steelers have a tough schedule, but with the way they're playing,
next two games aren't gimmies. I don't mean to interrupt you there, but their next 2 games are not gimme. I think they have the Chargers and then the Rams, if I'm not mistaken.
They're not gimmies. you are the better team in each, but they're not gimmies. It's concerning for them, but I don't think there's anything new. I think Lamar's not going to win MVP. I think the MVP thing kind of got, Josh Allen's winning MVP. Josh Allen hasn't won MVP. Lamar's won 2. Lamar hasn't had postseason success. Josh Allen's going to win MVP, and he deserves it. And then look, so the Ravens still troubles, concerns. We'll see if they fix them. You really need to see a change there. Just small things, and they're back to what they were. And on the Steelers side, you just gain more confidence. The defense, that's probably their best showing of the year. Because their defense has been good, but it hasn't been the same Steelers defense, but they've still been winning. But if they could play like that, then I mean, this was Russell Wilson's worst game by far. The Steelers can beat anyone. They truly can. They can beat anyone. I was interested in their stats. I'm going to check the stats from the game. I haven't done a deep dive on that. But Russell Wilson is probably, he could play like that, but.
And I was about to ask you, because the Baltimore's defense has been pretty pedestrian this year. Does Russell Wilson's struggles in this game raise any question marks or concerns for you, or is it just it's just a rivalry game? These 2 teams usually match up pretty well with each other, or
he still completed 64% of passes, 205 yards. He had a bad pick. That pick was ugly, but he still got them 6 scoring drives. Najee didn't run it great.
Now, 2 of those 6.
I want to see Mike Williams more.
And I'm not trying to take away anything from what you said about Russell leading 6 scoring drives, but 2 of those drives did start within the 25, 30-yard line, especially one of them right before the half. Patrick Queen
No, yeah,
stripped.
there's some
I think it
luck.
was
Like the
Isaiah
Steelers
Likely,
got
yeah.
lucky. The Ravens more lost this game, but they still made drives. They do need a. It was just neither team played great, but the Steelers, they win games. That's what they do. They win games. Mike Tomlin wins games. We always predict them to not. They always outperform our predictions. I mean, for me, it was just more a little ugly for Raven. It's an ugly game on both sides, but Steelers, it just showed what they are and their culture and things like that. And the Ravens just show that they're lacking something right now that goes beyond just a bad secondary.
Yeah, and I think the most perplexing thing of the game is when the Ravens needed the 2-point conversion and Derrick Henry was on the field. Like, even if you're not
Yeah,
going to
you
give
got to
Derrick
get
Henry
him
the
on the
ball,
field.
just have him as a presence, as a distraction. And if you're going to run Lamar, which I don't think that play that they ran was a design run. I think it was more of a rollout to the left, and because he looked like he wanted to throw the ball. Like, he wasn't looking like he was tucking and running without looking. I think that was a design pass play. But regardless, you have to have Derrick Henry on the field at that point. And that's what I'm concerned about the Ravens is every time they're in a remotely close game, they take Derrick Henry out and like try to be something that they're not and just be a this drop back passing team, which Lamar can do. But when you have Derrick Henry and you have that talent at quarterback or running back, have him on the field. I don't understand why they don't have him on the field. He didn't have a single fourth quarter carry in this game.
No, yeah, he needs more.
They're 4-0 when he gets 20 plus carries in a game. And so he only had 13 this past week. I don't know. The Ravens, it's hard for me to trust the Ravens right now. And I know it's the cliche, the Baltimore Ravens, their culture and all that. But right now it's hard for me to trust that coaching and situationally and the defense in addition I don't trust. I know they played better this game, but I think that was also just a product of Russell Wilson kind of struggling. So Ravens to me, I mean, I think they could. They're definitely still a playoff team, but they could slide a spot if they keep
Possibly,
playing.
yes.
They could. And in this week against the Chargers will be very telling in those regards. Anything else on this game before we move on to another key AFC matchup?
No.
Well, the other key AFC matchup that we'll talk about, the Bills and the Chiefs. Pretty disappointing loss for the Chiefs. I thought the Bills thoroughly outplayed Kansas City in this game. The score was much closer than it should have been. I think they, up front on both sides, they were pretty dominant, especially on the defensive line. Bills had pressure on Mahomes a lot in the game. Josh Allen, the Bills' offense was 9 of 15 on third down. And a lot of third down conversions were actually pretty long third downs, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and they kept converting them. And Chiefs, I mean, outside Xavier Worthy, no one else really showed up in the passing game. And I think the Chiefs are missing Pacheco right now. I think Kareem Hunt's been a really good story. He's been productive for them. But I think they need that juice in the backfield that they don't have right now.
I mean, I like Pacheco, but I don't think he's the difference between – I don't think he's a 10-point swing to –
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just a little bit of juice in the backfield.
I mean, yeah.
I don't think he's like a 10-point swing.
I think the Chiefs' problems – I mean, offensively, they weren't great. Hopkins played 47% snaps. A little weird. I don't know if that's like to not get the pick. I don't know. That was weird. I would never guess that because Chiefs trying to win a Super Bowl, so you're not caring.
They're not doing it for pick compensation.
Yeah, so, no, that's what I'm saying. But so that's a little weird. But I still think. I mean, Coleman was out. Kincaid was out. Wasn't someone else out for the Bills?
Oh, well, Cooper was a question mark, but he ended up playing.
Yeah.
They still had Curtis Samuel, still had Shakir.
Yeah. But, like, Jalen Watson, I think that's the most underrated injury. No one's talking about it. I mean, the Chiefs are good at getting corners, but Snead left, and then Watson's your number 2, and he was playing well, and then he's out for the year. And honestly, that may be more impactful than, like, Hollywood. Maybe not as impactful. Honestly, maybe more impactful than like Rashee Rice, because this is now hurting the Chiefs defense a lot because the pass rush, good pass rush, but Chris Jones has 3 sacks. Karlaftis is a good DN, but he's not a home run hitting DN. So you're not getting a great pass rush. And now you have this weakness as your number 2 corner. The game, that's what the main point of the game. And Josh Allen's MVP. Josh Allen, I think, is cementing himself as the number 2 quarterback behind Mahomes in the league. And so I'm just watching that game. I think that's the concern because you had Shakir, Cooper only had 2 catches. Knox had a good game. Curtis Samuel had a good game. Josh Allen spread the ball around a lot. A legit concerning game for the Chiefs, especially when you put that should have lost to Denver the week before, block field goal. Bo Nix was able to game-winning drive. He set it all up. So the Chiefs are there's question marks. I think that there's real question marks here.
Yeah, I think my main concern for the Chiefs is the left tackle position and offensive line. That's probably my main concern is because Mahomes is constantly being pressured, and you saw that in the Denver game. You saw that in this game. I mean, I think right now the Chiefs are really missing Rashee Rice because Hopkins was a good get for the Chiefs, but he's nowhere near Rashee Rice's level at this point in his career. You would like Marquise Brown to be there. Xavier Worthy, he played actually really well in this game, I think, but I think there's still times where along the sideline, I'm not going to blame that entirely on Worthy, but he does not. I think his awareness near his sideline needs to be better at times.
Yeah, it's not great, but Mahomes has to hit that upfield.
Mahomes led him to the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
As for the Bills, I mean, like you said, they were missing Coleman, they were missing Kincaid, and they still produced 30 points in this game. The first time Chiefs have given up 30 points in 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bills, this may be like the Bills getting rid of Diggs. I think this really helped Josh Allen because now he doesn't have to worry about, I have to feed this one guy. I can spread the ball around. And that's what you're seeing. There's no pressure. I don't think he feels any pressure to get the ball to specifically anybody. I think he's just playing within the scheme, playing within the play call, and he's just going to get the ball to whoever's open.
Mm-hmm. And when you get Kincaid and Coleman back, that's when your weapons are Cooper, talented. Shakir, he has great chemistry with. Kincaid, good tight end. Coleman, very talented. Curtis Samuel is a nice gadget guy. That's 5 nice guys to get the ball to. Plus James Cook, and they're able to use 3 running backs. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the Bills, and I've been high on the Bills. I've been really high on the Bills, and I don't know who I think is going to Super Bowl in the AFC. I'm pretty 50-50. I would say, okay, here's how I'll phrase it. I think it's more likely because you also have to throw in the Ravens and then maybe a super small percent of Steelers and Chargers. I think it's more likely Chiefs don't make the Super Bowl than they do.
I think, to be honest, for me, when I look at the AFC, Steelers, I think they're going to be a team nobody wants to play in the AFC, but I really view the AFC right now as a 2-team race. And I know Baltimore is also in the conversation, but I don't trust Baltimore in the playoffs. I don't trust Lamar in the playoffs, and maybe he can still get there. But for me, it's a 2-horse race between the Bills and the Chiefs.
I mean, if Chiefs face Denver first round, let's say Bills get the one, or Chiefs face Denver, Denver played Chiefs well. They should have won. And Bo Nix is just getting, obviously, if Chiefs lose to Denver in the playoffs, it's what? Even with, but there's not an easy, I don't see a guarantee. I see likely wins in the playoffs for the Chiefs in the AFC. If the picture is how it is now, I don't see a single team where it's guaranteed win. Except Denver was super close to guaranteed win. They'd beat Denver just because there's no way Bo Nix wins this against the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's
especially
too early.
In Arrowhead.
If he did, it'd be oh my goodness. But there's not a single team, just regular game, that's in the playoffs where the Chiefs, you could say, are a lot better than any of them.
Do we think, if you had to give a percentage of who's the 1 seed, what's percent chance the Chiefs end up with the 1 seed? Because now I really don't know. Because now all the Bills have to do is end up with the same record as the Chiefs to earn the 1 seed because they have the head-to-head tiebreaker. Bills have a bye this week, and then they play San Francisco out of the bye. And the Chiefs have Carolina and the Raiders coming up.
But the Chiefs' schedule...
there's some
Chargers, you can lose.
And
you're going to beat the Browns. But then you face Houston, Pittsburgh, Denver. You can lose. You're facing 4 playoff teams.
And that's 3. Those 3 games you mentioned are in a 10-day span. I mentioned that last week of a concern of mine for the Chiefs moving forward. Which I thought this is why the Bills game was not a must win, but winning this game would have been massive. For the Chiefs.
Bills' schedule though is also tough. Niners, Rams, Detroit, but then you end on New England, Jets, New England, and Jets are a mess. New England, I like what they're doing, but they're probably not being the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So if Bills can go
that 3-game stretch is going to be.
If Bills can go 2-1 against Niners, Rams, Detroit, and then Chiefs have to go in
Is that
the
is
they'd
that
have to go
Detroit game
full.
is it in Detroit or is it in Buffalo? I want to say it's in
That's huge.
Detroit.
It's
I
at
want to say
Detroit.
it's in Detroit. Okay.
That's huge because
You rather
at
play that in
Buffalo,
Buffalo.
I would mark it down right now. I would pick Buffalo if it's at Buffalo. At Detroit, probably picking Detroit. But so if they can beat the Niners and then like they should beat the Rams, you're looking at the Detroit game. Like we win this, we're probably the 1 seed because our Chiefs really going to are not going to lose again when they face Denver again, Pittsburgh, Houston, Chargers.
And Chargers are much better than the last time the Chiefs played them. Because the Chiefs, remember, they beat them without Rashee Rice basically for the whole game.
Yeah,
and Chargers' offense at that point was
it kind of fell
pretty
apart.
Yeah. And I think now the Chargers, we'll talk about them later, their offense is kind of clicking.
Lad McConkey's turning into a real guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Quinn Johnson, who many of us thought was just a bust after last season, he's played pretty well. Now there's still holes in his game, but he's played pretty well this season.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, he's not anything special, but it's definitely an upgrade of what he was last year, and he was dropping every pass last year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's shift over to the NFC side of things. I had the 49ers winning, but Seattle covering this one, but I don't think any of us expected Seattle to win this game in Santa Clara. Geno Smith was 0-5 in his previous 5 starts against the 49ers. He runs for the game-winning touchdown. I mean, Seattle, this division is, we don't know who's going to win this division. Everybody's at 5-5 or better. I believe Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams are all 5-5, and Arizona's 6-4. For me, though, this game was more about my raising concern with the 49ers.
Yeah.
I
don't think highly of Seattle. I still you're not convincing me yet to think highly of Seattle. Did Trent Williams play?
He did.
Okay, but I remember seeing some stuff before the
game. He was I think he had an ankle injury or something.
Yeah, he did not look good before the game. Nick Bosa got hurt mid-game. That was a problem. George Kittle didn't. At this point, I still like the Niners to win the division. I just still do. They're still talented. I still like Purdy. I still like the coaching, even though there's something missing, obviously, on the defense and stuff is missing. Like that is clear.
And if Nick Bosa has to miss a game, I don't think they can afford Nick Bosa to miss one game.
No, that's what I'm gonna pick them. I'm still picking them to win the division, even with a tough schedule, because but if players, they can't afford for their main players to miss games. They just can't. They can't afford to miss Kittle. If Kittle plays, I think they win because I think the offense is smoother. I just think it rolls better. I think Kittle's been great this year. I think Kittle's been actually kind of underrated how good he's been this year. He's averaging 70 yards a game.
Does he have double-digit touchdowns yet?
No, he's at 7 because he's missed 2. Okay. He's missed 2 games, but he has 560 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's been really good. He has touchdowns 6 of his 8 games. He's been a stud. Juwan Jennings is good, but Debo's kind of hit or miss at this point. McCaffrey, I think, is still not fully back, but he's good.
I still think he's trying to find his footing because he's not really breaking any runs right now.
Yeah, right now I think he's just working on solely IQ, and he'll figure it out. But you can't. Trent Williams, I think I've seen he has not been fantastic. I could be wrong, but I swear when I watch the Niners, I've seen him get beat, and that's very impactful. So this game I'm taking for Seattle, very impressive by Geno Smith, but they had 13 points. And then they had a game-winning touchdown drive without Nick Bosa on the field. So
but I think it was telling that Nick Bosa missed basically the final.
Well, yeah, it's obvious. Yeah, he's hurt. We'll see if he plays. I'm not going to say it will or won't, but I'm just not impressed by what Seattle did. I just think it's more the Niners really got to get healthy. They got to get healthy, and that's the key. If they don't get healthy, they're not making the playoffs, and that's wild. And I don't even know what they do. They're in such a weird spot if they don't make the playoffs. It's I
already know what they're going to do. Here's the thing.
Well, you trade Debo.
Yeah. And the only way
the
only way they keep the band together is if they win the Super Bowl. And we made our revised midway point of season predictions a couple weeks ago, and I had the 49ers out of the playoffs. And it's because I didn't think they were going to lose this game. But the fact that they lost this game, and you have Green Bay and Buffalo in consecutive weeks, I think both of those games are on the road. there's a legitimate chance
game this week. Must-win
for sure.
game this week.
And if Nick Bosa's like, there's a legitimate chance they lose both those games. And if they lose both those games, I think their season's done.
You're not done. I'm saying must-win.
Well, here's the thing.
But you can go beat Chicago. You're 6-7. Then you can go beat the Rams. You're 7-7. Go beat Miami. You're 8-7. And then the Detroit game is like, there's just a team they can pile off 5 wins.
Here's the thing, though.
It's reminding me of the Buffalo Bills from last year when we were like, well, some people, not me, were saying, oh, they're not going to make the playoffs. I picked like they're 6-6. I still said they're going to.
Bills had a much easier schedule than the 49ers.
I know, but I understand that. But you pull off an upset, and then all of a sudden the schedule's not that tough. But you have to do it, obviously. But if you pull off one upset, it then can trickle down. So I still have faith in the Niners, but they can't have any more injuries.
Here's my point. Why
not too
the reason why I think 49ers would be done if they lose these next 2 games is I think there's only going to be one NFC West team in the playoffs. It's going to be obviously whoever wins.
You'd have to win out from there.
Definitely, and I don't. It's just tough for me to see if you lose those 2 games. I'm not saying you're going to lose. You're going to end up 6-11, 7-10. But then it's just gonna you already have so many injuries. I think my prediction is if they lose these next 2 games, there's like I already think they don't make the playoffs. If they lose the next 2, I'm just having out.
If they lose against Green Bay, I'm picking a different team to win the NFC West because I don't think they beat the Bills. It's really weird. I could see them winning 2 in a row or losing both, or I could see all 3 scenarios. But you have to beat the Packers, and if you don't beat the Packers, Arizona is probably in the driver's seat. Because I still don't like just watching Seattle and the Rams. I still don't like it. Arizona looks the best by far, easily to me.
I think the Arizona-Seattle game is huge this weekend. We'll learn a lot from that game. But yeah, as I said, I just think 49ers right now, like I know your narrative is they'll figure it out. They're kind of running out of time to figure it out and get healthy. And
you got to get healthy.
I still have a good feeling about the 49ers, and I think both the teams they're going up against are better than them. Like I think the 49ers defensively have not been good. Green Bay, I still have questions about Jordan Love and the ball security. But that game at home, they know that's a huge game. They got left off the hook against the Bears. I think they'll be more focused. And then Bills have won 6 straight, and they just beat the Chiefs, and they'll be off a bye against.
Right, you got to win. You got to win against Green Bay. You got to win.
Yeah, Green Bay's a must win. Green Bay is definitely a must win. Let's shift back to the AFC for the last game. This was definitely the most fun I think I've ever had watching a game with you and one of our roommates. I'm a Herbert guy, and Herbert kind of melted, and I was the only one that was a beneficiary of that whole thing in our fantasy football world. The game was basically a tale of 2 halves. It was just the game basically flipped. The Chargers dominated the first half. The Bengals dominated the second half, and we were watching the first half, and I think Herbert's a top 5 guy, but like I know you're kind of on the.
I said Herbert. Okay, I said Herbert's a top 5 guy.
Okay, but label him as like he's in that next year, like with Burrow and Lamar. Like I know you're more hesitant to have him near that level of quarterback. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're not wrong, man. I think it showed. It 100% showed.
I mean, the second half was basically the Chargers are going to Charger. It was a classic Chargers game, except they actually won this time.
No, yeah. I mean, Herbert looks so good in the first half. And Logan and I have Herbert in Dynasty, and Logan's always making Herbert excuses. And I've been a part of that. I've been on the more Herbert side. But then I lost a bet when he lost Arizona, which he choked. And I was just like, you know what? I keep seeing this. And then he's playing great against the Bengals. And I'm like, you know what? He's having his moment. I picked the Chargers. Logan picked the Bengals. I'm like, this is Herbert's moment. He's doing it. He looked insane. And then the second half comes, and even though Joe Burrow's better, and it's like they're not on the same level because there's a certain type of gutsiness and play style, and I'm going to get the play no matter what. And Justin Herbert, so good, but it's like Justin Herbert's more watch me throw this dime. Burrow's like watch me do all this, get the receiver the ball. I care more about getting the receiver the ball in tough situations and making the perfect in a super close window throw all the time. And that was annoying. It was annoying because I wanted Chargers. I just got mad as a football fan, even though Chargers are in the division, like these poor fans. And then I got even worse for the Bengals fans because you're about Joe Burrow, if they had 3 more wins, we're talking about him for potential MVP. It was terrible. Yeah. It was disgraceful. Both organizations. I mean, the Chargers finally won, but that's because Evan McPherson missed 2 kicks. One of the best kickers in the league missed 2 kicks, which he usually makes. I mean, oh my gosh, that was just so ridiculous. It was so. I still came away with that. Like, the Chargers are a really good team, which is
I think Chargers. I mean, that was the first time they'd given up past 20 points in a game. Mm-hmm. And the first half was thoroughly a domination. It was 20. I believe it was 27-6 a half. And it was like the Chargers
24-6. 24-6, I believe.
Okay. They could do whatever they wanted to offensively. Like, we saw Herbert run for 60 yards in the first half or something like that. Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And
see, but then in the second half, he had that fumble, and then he refused to leave the pocket. And it's
Chargers, they also, I'm not making an excuse for him. He played really bad in the second half, but they also just kind of went away from the running game.
They did, but he doesn't use his legs.
Drop back. Yeah, he needs to use his legs more.
Like Josh Allen, that 4th and 2, he saw it and he got it. Herbert doesn't do that type of stuff. Mahomes will, Burrow will, Lamar will, not to the extent of those 3, but he will as well. But Herbert just doesn't do that type of stuff. And the drive before the McConkey drive, he had McConkey open and overthrew him because he's like a bullet guy. It's so weird. We've been talking about how quarterbacks
he threw a little bit of air under it.
Yeah, no, but that's my point. He's a bullet guy. We complain that none of them are, but he is. But then he's not a great lob guy. He's like, if you have to lob a pass, I may take 15 quarterbacks to make that pass over Herbert. He does not lob the ball well. He just doesn't. Each time he has to lob the ball, I feel like he screws up. If you have to hit the closest window, he's probably the first quarterback in the league I take.
No, he hit there's some.
If he has to lob a pass, if you're asking me Jalen Hurts or Herbert to hit a lob pass to a tight end who's covered, I may take Jalen Hurts because I've seen him make that pass all the time. But Herbert's are lasers, and it was frustrating. But Herbert's still the 5th best quarterback, but he's just that. You can't let that happen. And they got lucky. And good for them. But that was ridiculous. The Bengals, poor Joe Burrow.
Oh, I'm starting to feel bad for Joe. He ripped our hearts out in that AFC Championship game. We were there when that happened. But I feel bad for him. It's it's the same thing every year. The offensive line is never good for him. He's getting the hits he takes.
Oh, he's getting killed out there.
I don't know how long he'll last in this league because the hits he's taking are brutal. I mean, there's some brutal hits he takes. There's one where he got landed on his chest. He gets hit in the back. He lands on his shoulder, and he's already been hurt in his. I don't know how long he's going to last in this league because of the Bengals' ineptitude of.
Yeah, the organization's a joke.
The offensive line,
and it's just their team again is not that good. I was saying this from the beginning, and oh man, I was so right on this. I'm gonna say that again. I was really they have Trey Hendrickson, dog. You have Chase, Higgins, Burrow. What else do you got? You lost Joe Mixon, even though Chase Brown's pretty good.
Well, they traded. They didn't lose him. They gave him away.
But Chase Brown's good. Yeah, Chase Brown's good, but he's not Joe Mixon. I mean, Logan Wilson's pretty solid, but I'm looking at they have a bye week and then they face Pittsburgh. Let's say he gets battered around against Pittsburgh and they lose. I'm just hey. Your ankle really hurt. I don't think you could play against Dallas and Tennessee.
I don't think they tank or not tank. Tank may be the wrong word, but just kind of give up on the season until they reach the 9th loss. If they end up at 5-9.
Well, the 9th loss could be in week 17 because they face Dallas, Tennessee, Cleveland, a possible top 3 pick combination. So
yeah,
if he gets battered against Pittsburgh, he should sit out the rest of the year. He should sit out the rest of the year, say your back hurts, which it probably does at this moment.
I think the most likely player to sit out is probably T. Higgins because he's I'm already gone from this team. Why am I going to
that whole trio should have ankle injuries.
Why am I going to get hurt when I'm on a contract here?
Yeah, they should have sprained ankles and stop playing.
I think that game out of the bye. I mean, basically every game's a must win at this point for them. I don't think they can really afford to lose any more games, but they have a pretty tough schedule. They still have divisional games. You still have Denver.
If you can beat Pittsburgh.
I mean, at this point, I thought they were going to get the 7th seed. I don't, especially if Denver wins this weekend, which they have a favorable matchup. I just don't see Cincinnati. I think too many things have gone wrong for them.
If they can beat Pittsburgh, You have a shot to do something weird, but I just don't think
They basically have to
Pittsburgh.
stay close to Denver and hope that they're like a game behind Denver when they face each other. That's their only
And they need to hope
chance of
that the
really.
Chiefs are fighting for something in Week 18.
Yeah, because Denver's get a free win. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's not good for Cincinnati right now, and I don't think it's going to turn around because the defense is not going to be solved, and the offensive line is still the offensive line.
I
So
saw someone on Twitter. I don't know what count it was, but it's clips from the documentary, the Patriots documentary. It's Bill Belichick just trashing everyone. They're talking about he's trashing Brady. It's like it was a Bengals fan who's and is like, I look, you think Joe Burrow would be really good at this. Well, it's like Bill Belichick yelling at Brady. Bill Belichick to the Bengals. That'd be cool.
I don't think they're going to do that.
That'd
They already have a good defensive coordinator in there. They still have the personnel. I think they're going to try to get I think Zach Taylor needs to be gone.
No, he's gone. If they
and when you hear the comments from Jamar Chase, the vibes are just not.
No, the vibes are bad. I think it's not. Good.
I think everybody's just kind of frustrated.
I think Bill Belichick would be cool though. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I just don't. They already have a good defense coordinator. I think they're gonna go.
But there's so much other stuff with Bill Belichick. It's not just the defense. He's Bill flipping Belichick. He's one of the greatest.
My point. I know, but I still.
But it's not just to fix. I think the offensive defensive guy thing it's fine. But if it's Bill Belichick, or Mike Vrabel or one of those guys, culture means so much. Look at the Steelers.
I mean, yeah, but we'll see. I don't think even Bill Belichick goes anywhere. He's not a long term. He's gonna how long does he coach when he gets hired somewhere?
I don't know. He can coach 5-6 years.
Yeah, I see more of a 3 to 4 year window with him. And that's not saying he'll be bad in those 3, but I just don't see him coaching.
I could see him coaching. I don't know why he couldn't. Health. I think if his health's fine, he's fine.
All right, we'll move on to our next segment. Who would you rather be? So Luke's going to present me 2 teams. I think there's 8. We're doing 8 groupings. And he'll be asking me, who would I rather be for the rest of this season and beyond?
And so I try to challenge Logan here. So the first one I thought of, the first team, I was like, I had 8 teams in mind to put him up against. But then I was like, I got to put it to Logan and what he thinks and things like that. So I'm interested in a lot of these. I think I can predict some of what them are that he'll say, but not all of them. First one, the New England Patriots or the Colts? Who would you rather be?
Oh, that's interesting. I think Anthony Richardson looked really good this weekend.
This is why I did it.
I'm going to say the Colts because they still have the weapons there, and we still have to see what the Patriots will do with their weapons. Theoretically, they have a lot of cap space, a lot of capital to go get weapons, but we'll see if they do that. I still don't know about Jerod Mayo. Scheichen's been really good everywhere he's been. Now, as a head coach, maybe he's a little over his head, but I think Richardson, if Richardson could play like that, 20 or 30 for 272 yards, you lead a game-winning drive, which he looked really good on, and they already have the weapons there. You have Josh Downs, you have Michael Pittman, you have Adonai Mitchell, you have Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to say the Colts just because I know what's already there. Now, if the Patriots go get T. Higgins or something, I think it's a different conversation, but I'm just going to say based on what I know that they already have.
So, yeah, I'd take Patriots because I think May is just – I think May
I think May could be a stud.
Okay. Yeah. Next one, I know which one you're going to say here. I'm pretty sure, but I think you can be it's something to be challenged on. Steelers or Bears?
I'm still going to take the Bears. That's probably the one you probably thought you'd go Bears on that one. Quite honestly, for Steelers, I still don't know if they have a quarterback on their roster. If the current quarterback on the roster will be their future quarterback. Russell Wilson's 36. Fields isn't the answer. They're not aggressive in the quarterback department. Trading up in the draft, drafting one, signing a big time quarterback. I still really like Caleb. Keenan Allen will be gone. Eberflus is going to be gone. I think they may be really aggressive and get Ben Johnson, which historically isn't something that they usually do. They're kind of like the Bengals. They're pretty conservative. They don't really go after the big name coaches. But I'm still going to take the rest of this year. Of course, it's Pittsburgh, but beyond, I'm going to take Caleb Williams or the question mark at Steelers quarterback. I'm going to take Caleb Williams. And the defense, I I think the defense is kind of quit on their coach, but I do think they have the talent on that side of the ball too. So I'll take the Bears.
See, it's interesting because Steelers 8-2, I think, have a shot for the Super Bowl if things can go right for them. I think they can beat anyone. And you have a legit head coach, and you don't know if you're going to have that with the Bears. So while you talk about the quarterback questions with the Pittsburgh, Bears still, like, technically, like, your quarterback is, but you still don't truly know if he's good. And
I think
you don't
once
have a
they get
head
the
coach.
foundational pieces
No,
around
yeah, but
him,
you
right,
don't know. You
they'll be
can't
fine.
say for 100%
Offensive line's
certainty.
bad, head coach is bad.
You
I'll still
can't
take
say
the
for
Bears,
certainty that he will be a good NFL. I believe in him, but you can't say for certainty that they have a head coach, a good GM, or a quarterback. But the Steelers, you have a good GM and you got a hell of a coach. So that's an interesting one. Okay, next one. Cincinnati or Arizona?
I mean, I think Burrow's way better than Kyler.
Yeah.
I like think of the Cardinals though. So we've seen this before. Like we saw this, I think 2 or 3 years ago, where they started the year out 9-1, and then they lost like 5 of the last 6 games. Lost in the
Could be
first
the
round of the
Cliff
playoffs.
Kingsbury effect, though.
Yeah, I still think like Cardinals defense. I know they're playing well. I still don't think they have great personnel. It's really tough. I'm probably gonna take Bengals still, especially if they can get Jamar Chase under contract. You have Burrow, you have Chase. It's really like I think it's actually a much closer conversation. Like I think like before the year, I don't think this would even be a conversation. Like it would just be Bengals straight out. I'm gonna lean Bengals though because I just don't know what I get with Kyler Murray consistently.
Interesting. Bengals, one of the worst ownership groups. I feel like.
Well, I don't think Cardinals have a great.
I don't think they have a bad one.
I think like front office stuff, it's not the best.
I think it's been a lot. They don't
They've
have
improved
Steve,
since
they don't have Steve Keim anymore. I mean,
but like
okay,
yeah, I don't know if I trust Kyler like for full like. Yeah.
This next one, I feel like I think I know who you're gonna pick, but I could see you zagging here with recent developments, depending on how you're willing to change thoughts. Denver or Green Bay?
I'm still going to take Green Bay. Bo Nix has been really good. I think the ceiling with Jordan Love is higher. I still think I like their weapons. Defensively, there's question marks, and I think Denver clearly has a better defense. But I like Matt LaFleur way more than I do with the Broncos. And Broncos are going to be in a division with the Chiefs. Justin Herbert and Chargers will be better next year. Like I think Chargers next year, if they make the right moves, could legitimately be like if you just remove their name, you would just say that's a Super Bowl type team if they get the moves right. But like you always say the Chargers are going to Charger. I'm still going to lean Green Bay because I do think Jordan Love has more talent. I think they're loaded offensively, talent wise, and I think Matt LaFleur will take over Sean Payton.
That's interesting. Bo Nix rookie deal, next 4 years after this. Jordan Love about to start the most expensive contract.
Yeah, but like right now they're not really paying anybody else. That's the thing. If they had like a receiver, they had to pay, like they're not going to pay Christian Watson. And they.
Oh yeah, I think it's interesting.
I trust them more in draft and developing. They're historically great at that, so I'll still take Green Bay, and they're on the NFC side of things as well.
I think Denver's done a pretty good job. Look at their defense; they've drafted a whole bunch of guys. I think that I think Bo Nix can be better than Jordan Love.
I see.
Ceiling is love. Ceiling is love, like you said, but I don't think
Bo Nix's ceiling is like his ceiling's not exponentially high. Like he's very solid right now, but I don't know how much better he's going to get. That's just my thing.
But yeah, but I think he's already not too far off from Jordan Love. I don't think he's that far. If you put Bo Nix on the Packers, the record's probably the same. In my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't.
I think that's an issue. Okay, now we get to some bumminess. Jacksonville or Dallas?
That's interesting.
Both owners who
both
have
bad
a lot of
quarterback
headaches.
Contracts. I'm going to take Jacksonville because I think they end up with Bill Belichick, and I can't. Jerry Jones, I think, is just such a deal breaker for any conversation with the Cowboys. And you're paying Dak. You have CeeDee Lamb that you paid, which I have no problem paying CeeDee Lamb. But you paid Dak, which I thought was a terrible. Like they paid him on the first, like on game day, week 1.
That was wild.
Stupid. Micah Parsons, I don't think Mike Parsons is as good as he actually is. Like I think he's starting to get. I think he's starting to get to overrated. he's starting to slide over to that conversation. He doesn't show up in big games. Like if you actually look at his playoff career and like in big games, he does not show up. And he does this podcast. He does a podcast where he's like, get off the podcast, man. Like nobody wants to hear you talk. Like when your team's struggling and you're talking about it constantly, it's just not a good look. And his comments, Dallas, I think, like I said before the year, I think this is a slow downward trajectory for them. They paid Dak, which I thought was an absolutely wrong move. I don't like their owner. I don't know what coach is going to want to work for Jerry Jones. And then like I still believe in Trevor Lawrence. He still shows glimpses. I just think he needs better coaching. I don't think he's had really a good coach there. Urban Meyer definitely didn't work. Doug Peterson, everywhere he's been has been a flash in the pan. I'm gonna say Jacksonville, but I think both situations are pretty bad right now.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Okay, this one is a test of. This is testing you. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Detroit or the Chargers?
I'm gonna say Detroit. I think.
Okay, that's my first.
You have Montgomery. You have Gibbs. They have a lot more better young talent, and I butchered the phrasing on that, but Chargers, Khalil Mack's older. Joey Bosa's older. They may both be gone. Who knows what they're gonna do with that cap situation? I'll take Herbert over Jared Goff every day of the week. If you put Herbert on the Lions, they'd be doing what they're doing plus more. Like I think more people. If Herbert was on the Lions, people would have Lions by far just the best team in Super Bowl favorites. So quarterback wise, I'll take Chargers, but I think there's so many pieces around the Lions. They're aggressive in the draft, which I love. They go get the guy they want. Their offensive line, best offensive line in the league. They'll have to pay, or Penei Sewell will be getting paid here soon. I think the Lions are more set up for long-term success. But we'll see. Like I said, I think the Chargers next year, like I said, I think they could be a legitimate Super Bowl contender if they get another receiver and keep building this thing with Jim Harbaugh. So I'm gonna give the Lions the edge here because I've seen them do it. They went to the NFC Championship game and they may go to the Super Bowl this year. So I'll take the Lions.
Okay. I was testing your Justin Herbert fanaticness there. Interesting one. Niners, Seattle.
This is interesting. Okay, so 49ers for me, you know that I'm more down on them than most people.
That's why I picked this here.
I truly think Seattle's a quarterback away from really like if Seattle gets the right quarterback and it's a quarterback that he actually moves the needle and that can elevate the pieces around him, I truly think they could be contending for the NFC West each and every year. Matthew Stafford's aging. The Rams are an older team. I don't know I'm getting with the Cardinals each and every year. The 49ers, I think it's going to be a major mistake if they give. You can pay Purdy. I'm not giving him $50+ million a year. I'm not doing that. Now, like if you want to give him, I'm very hesitant on the Purdy thing. Like I know that's another controversial thing of mine. I think he's good. But what happens when these pieces start leaving? And you've kind of seen he's played well this year, but like this last game, there's no Kittle. There's no Ayuk. McCaffrey still finds footing. I think Debo's lost a step. I truly do. I think he's slowed down as a receiver. What's going to happen when you pay Purdy and you're not going to have this loaded roster around him? So I'm going to say Seattle. Now, and I know we're talking about this year and beyond. This year, I think it's a flip of a coin, and beyond, we'll have to see what Seattle does at quarterback, but I'm going to take my chances that they've shown that they're aggressive. Like John Schneider wanted to trade Russell Wilson for the number 1 pick and take Josh Allen years ago when Josh Allen was in the draft. So I do think they're forward thinking. I'm going to say Seattle.
Okay. I added one more that I'll say after this because I was like, I have to do that one. But this one, Houston, do I be the Texans or the Ravens?
That's actually a tough one. As a quarterback, I do like Stroud more than Lamar. I think Lamar's better right now. I'm kind of seeing Stroud take that step back. I love what the Texans are building, though. You have Will Anderson, only in his second year. You have Derek Stingley. You have your left tackle. I think is pretty good in Laremy Tunsil. I'm going to give the edge to Houston here because I trust CJ Stroud more in the big spots. Now it's only his second year. He's kind of struggled this year. Lamar's playing style, we really haven't seen that, extend for a long. Now he'll. I don't know. I'm not saying his career is going to be done here soon, but the high ceiling. How long is that going to last with this play style? I like Houston's young talent more, and I think you have Nico locked up in his contract. Tank Dell's good. I'm going to give the edge to Houston here, and that may be another controversial one, but I feel better about Houston more long term. And I think possibly this year, I think this year they could actually go deeper in the playoffs than Ravens. I do not like what the Ravens have been doing this year, and I know Houston hasn't. I don't think Houston's looked as good. If those two matched up in the first round of the playoffs, which they matched up in the first round of the playoffs last year, or the second round,
that'd be a fun one. That'd be a Houston Ravens.
I think it'd be very interesting in Houston. Maybe that actually helps Lamar more because now you're on turf and his speed is more elite on turf.
That'd be a must win for the Ravens. Must win.
I think if Lamar lost that game, I already have questions about him, but I think you would start leaning over to my side with questions about Lamar in the playoffs.
No, that'd be a bad one. Okay, this one, I think it's interesting. And I think I got Jets or Giants. Jets or Giants. New York teams, MetLife. I feel like there's one obvious talent discrepancy, but
I'm going to take Giants. I'm going to take the ownership of the Giants. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be gone. I do think the Jets have a better overall team, but I just don't trust their ownership. If they keep Aaron Rodgers, this is a slam dunk Giants. If you told me in August or in July or whenever, in March, that the Jets are keeping Aaron Rodgers, I think if Giants get Shedeur Sanders, you have Malik Neighbors there, you have Tyrone Tracy, your front seven's really good. You can get a secondary player in there as well. I'm going to take the Giants. I just don't trust the Jets. I think Sauce Gardner may be majorly overrated, doesn't tackle. He hasn't had an interception in 35 straight games. I think Breece Hall's more just he either hits a big run or he doesn't. And then I really like Garrett Wilson, but we really haven't seen it since his rookie season blow up. Now we saw glimpses of it this year, but I just don't trust the Jets.
See, it's interesting because the Jets have that's tough because Jets have a foundation of young talent. The Giants have Malik Neighbors, Tyrone. Giants have talent up front on the defense.
Their defense is. I think their defense is better than Jets.
But it's I wonder what Dexter Lawrence, because Dexter Lawrence, he seemed like he was upset they benched Daniel Jones. He kind of was upset about that.
You will not be upset if you have Shedeur next year. I'll tell you that.
Well, who says he wants to stay a Giant? So that's an interesting one. The New York ones. The Jets are a mess. The Giants are a mess. I think the Giants not putting in Drew Lock. I'd be pissed. It doesn't matter that you're tanking. I'd be pissed if I was a player. You spent $5 million on Drew Lock. Guess who you didn't sign because you didn't $1 million short? Saquon Barkley. But you paid $5 million for a backup who's supposed to be your backup, and then you don't even play him once you bench the starter. It's so terrible once you put in.
It was terrible when they chose Daniel Jones over Saquon.
Yes, you probably, in hindsight, you should have franchised Daniel Jones.
It was actually exactly. It was a perfect situation.
And even I said that it was their fault that they really screwed up is when they didn't accept his 5th-year option, because then you would have had him after you win the playoffs at $24 million.
But that's when you decline a 5th-year option, you have to take a chance. And I think they made the right choice to decline it because you hadn't seen it yet.
But
they could have then tagged.
If your plan was to,
what was the franchise tag when
30 something, 35? It's the 5th highest quarterback.
I would have done that way more than giving him $40 million a year.
No, but the problem was they lost a ton of leverage, and then he won the playoff. People forget he won the playoff game. He was really good in that game. No matter what you want to say, Logan, he was fantastic.
No, he was very good, but I'm not getting $40 million a year.
But you should, if you would have just had the 5th-year option, you don't have to do an extension. And then you don't have where his agent was basically stubborn as a rock because you declined the option. So they lost the leverage part. And so if you're declining the 5th-year option, you have to have a plan if he wins and be well, do we even still love him or not? And then I think it was poorly ran. And then with the Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, I think it's disgraceful to Drew Lock, who was expected to play. You earlier saying maybe he's going to start over Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they're battling for it. I think. But then the thing is, there's a report that Brian Daboll's coached for his job, though.
But
so it's very.
It makes that's why this makes no sense. You can't put in your 3rd best quarterback. I think we all know Drew Lock's better than Tommy DeVito. I think even if you want to say you're tanking, it's like that's terrible.
Yeah, it's tough, but yeah, I'll take the Giants in that one just because I think they're better positioned in the draft. Now, maybe the Jets lose out, and then they're in the Shador sweepstakes. But I don't know. The Giants, I think, just they have more. The Jets have you have Sauce, I think Will McDonald's been pretty good. You have Brees and you have Garrett. So you have those are your core players. But like when I look at Giants, you have
The
Thibodeau,
Williams brothers.
Brian Burns,
But
Dexter
I think
Lawrence.
you're overpaying Brian Burns right now.
I think you are too. But I here's the thing: you can afford to overpay players when you're going to have a rookie quarterback in there, which I do think that ends up happening. So
No, yeah, in that case, but like that's another bad contract that they signed. Like Burns is a good player, he has a bad contract, and like, yeah, I don't know. I think that's.
I thought those were pretty interesting. That one was the two New York teams. I'm just going to take the one that has had more success in recent memory than
Yeah, and I
one.
get the ownership with the Jets. You're such a mess.
Yeah, like they fired their GM today. They fired their head coach early in the year. They don't know what they're doing, and if they're tied to Aaron Rodgers, good luck.
I think my favorite. I think my first one. The first one was the only one I was 100%. I'd take Patriots over Colts. The rest, even though I think I disagree with you on a solid amount of them, I was like not like 100% sold on the one I'd take. Like,
yeah, the Colts Patriots one's interesting because
I'm taking Drake May.
And I think Drake May will end up being better than Richardson, but for me, it's just I know what the Colts have right now. That's the main reason why I took them because I still don't know if Jerome Mayo's gonna. I don't know if he's a long-term answer head coach.
That's just true. That's true. But also, the Colts locker room seemed like it kind of like gave up the week before, and like talking about how the players in general are not. So
locker room it was pretty good this week.
Well, yeah, after you win, but that's not what it's all about. Just when you winning masks a lot. What if you have a? Who are they facing? Are they on bye?
They face Lions.
I mean, what if you get slaughtered?
Yeah. Well, anything before we move on to our Week 12 picks, which includes the Colts and Lions?
No, I was gonna ask you Browns or Saints.
Saints.
Okay.
I'll take Citadel over Browns.
Yeah.
It seems like I'll take a high school team over the Browns.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, you're toast. Speaking of the Browns and the Steelers, or Browns, let's move into our Week 12 picks, and that's actually the first game of the week. Steelers at the Browns. Steelers are -3.5 in the spot.
I don't care. That's a division. I don't care that Steelers had a tough game. The Steelers are a lot better than the Browns. The Browns lost by multiple touchdowns to the Saints. I'm taking Steelers -3.5.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think people should not overthink this one. I don't even care that the Browns are at home. I don't trust Jameis Winston.
Oh, that means nothing to me.
They lost by 21 to the Saints. This is a pretty easy one. A short week 2, I'm going to trust Mike Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, Vikings at the Bears. Vikings are -3.5.
Pretty much the same arguments. Vikings -3.5. I know the Bears almost beat the Packers, but then you just have another demoralizing chain of events, and yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings here. Lock down our bet between which team.
No, I didn't make this pick because of the bet, but I actually have the Bears winning this game. I think that they simplified the offense a little bit last week. They figured some things out. I still think their defense is pretty solid. Sam Darnold, I think, is going to give them chances to intercept the ball in this game. I like the Bears to win in a pretty ugly game. I think it's going to be like a 20-17 game, 21-17, something along those lines. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, and I still just don't trust Darnold enough on the road against a formidable defense. So I'll take the Bears in this one. Lions at the Colts. Lions are -7.5. I was kind of surprised it wasn't a bigger line base.
I can't bet against the Lions covering. I mean, another easy one. Give me the Lions to cover. They're just killing people. And they don't stop.
No.
That's what's huge about betting the Lions to cover against teams. They will drop 50 on you to do it.
Yeah, Colts defense is not good. We saw the Jets score 28 points on them this past week when they hadn't scored past 25 all year. The Lions, I don't think anybody has the answer for the Lions because they have offensive line. They could beat you up. They could beat you up in the running game. The passing game is elite when it's clicking. I'm gonna take the Lions plus the points here. So I think the Lions. I don't think this will be a blowout game, but I think it's definitely gonna be a two possession game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots at the Dolphins. Dolphins are -7.
Patriots at Dolphins. I mean, Miami beat the Rams, but I don't think they're that good. And they beat the Raiders, but the Raiders honestly stuck in for a little bit. I know Patriots lost the Rams, but I've been betting on my boy Drew.
Drake May.
Did I just almost say Drew Lock? Jeez Louise. Drake May to cover a lot, and he's had a lot of close ones that haven't worked out. But I'm going to take him to cover again. I will take Miami to win. Man, every week I feel like I want to pick the Patriots. I won't because they still suck. But I'll take Patriots to cover Miami money line.
I have the same exact pick. I still don't trust Miami that much. I thought they only had like 4 possessions the first half against the Patriots. I don't trust Miami. I know that Tua has been good the past 2 games that they've played, but it's the Raiders and the Rams. The Rams defense isn't good. The Raiders are already looking towards next season. I still don't think the Dolphins are that good of a team. So I'm going to take them to win, but I could see Patriots win this game, in all honesty. I was actually thinking of putting the Patriots money line as my pick, but I just kind of went safe.
I thought about it.
I did forget to we didn't mention our week 11 picks, like how we went and what we are in the year. So I'll just quickly say I was 10-4 last week in the money line and 8-6 in the spread.
I did bad. 9-5 money line, 5-9 spread.
All right, I'm slowly catching up. I don't know if I'll have enough time to catch up.
It was bad.
Buccaneers at the Giants. Buccaneers minus 5.5.
If it was Drew Lock, I'm taking Giants to cover because I think that Tristan Wirfs not playing is pretty big, and Tampa is getting Mike Evans back, and I do like Baker, but with Tommy Cutlets in there, give me Tampa minus 5.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Tampa minus 5.5 too. I like you said, I'm worried about Tampa's health. Defensively, I don't think they're that strong of a defense, but I'm not trusting Giants remotely in any circumstance. Even if Drew Lock was playing this game, I don't think I would take them over the Bucks. Bucks off a bye. Mayfield's been really good this year outside of the turnovers. I'll take the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys at Commanders. I'm not going to watch a single second of this game. Commanders minus 10.5.
I'm picking Cowboys to cover for the 3rd straight week. Okay. But Washington's going to win. I don't know why I'm doing this. Washington's having problems. I think their team's kind of falling apart. It could also be a Kingsbury thing, but it may fall.
I think they're going to lean on the run game in this game, the Commanders. I'm going to take the Commanders and the points. And
that's fine. I mean, I can't argue it at all.
I don't know how I feel about taking a double digit. Like, Commanders have not been playing well lately.
It's just a lot of points.
But do I try? Like, Cooper Rush is not good. And what you're going to put Trey Lance in there, who I think
he's going to get He's going to have some packages.
It won't amount to much. I think Cowboys may lose out. So I'm going to take Commanders and to cover the 10.5. Tennessee at Houston. The Texans are favored by 8.5 in this spot.
I was gonna pick Titans to cover, but I envisioned the game in my head, and Nico Collins has like 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, and like a 70-yard bomb. So I'm gonna take Texans just because of that. What I envisioned.
I'm gonna take Texans because of Will Levis is on their side of the ball, and
that's
he's
true.
Not good. So I'm gonna.
He wasn't the worst against the Vikings. He wasn't the worst. But yeah,
his pocket awareness is still terrible.
No, it's bad. It's bad. That's one of those things. Like, I started getting high on Will Levis, and obviously we're not film guys. If I was film guys and saw something like no pocket awareness, it's like no.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Texans in the points. That's a pretty easy pick for me. Another game that is pretty easy for me: Chiefs at the Panthers. Chiefs are 11-point favorites despite losing pretty handily to the Bills this weekend.
I picked Panthers plus 11 first, but I'm switching it to Chiefs minus 11.
Smart.
It's just,
smart.
I was thinking about like Pacheco will be back, and just like Bryce Young shorts and Chris Jones bats balls, and so does Karlaftis, and it's like
you can't run on.
I should just pick the Chiefs minus 11 and not overreact. So yeah, I had it written down, and I just had to squiggle out the plus 11. It's Chiefs minus 11.
Yeah, Chiefs off a loss. They want to get back on track. I think this may be like a 20-point game, and we haven't seen Chiefs really cover. I think this may be the first game where we see them win by 20-plus points. You can't run on them. Like, James Cook had 9 carries for 20 yards. And I know he scored 2 touchdowns, but those were both goal line touchdowns. I like the Chiefs pretty big in this spot.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll move to 3 o'clock slate games, which I think all 3 of these are actually never mind. 2 of the 3 are very interesting.
Yeah.
This first one's not interesting. Broncos at the Raiders. Broncos minus 5.5. Just blew out the Falcons.
I've been loving the Broncos this year. You know I'm taking Broncos minus 5.5. That's probably, if you could have looked at all the lines and said Luke's going to take one line, I bet Broncos minus 5.5 would have been the line you thought I'd take. One of the lines.
Yeah, one of them. Like Pittsburgh, Vikings, I knew you were going to take those lines, but those are much easier. I'm going to take Denver minus 5.5 as well. Raiders don't really present anything special. Broncos are firing on all cylinders. Bo Nix had 4 touchdowns this past week. The defense is really good. I don't think Gardner Minshew is going to really be able to do much. So I'll take the Broncos. And the last time they played, it was pretty close, but Bo Nix is a much better quarterback than he was then. So I'm going to take the Broncos and the points. This one's the one. This is fun. I'm finally interested in a game we're picking. Like this is legitimately the first game I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. 49ers at the Packers. Packers minus 2.5 in this spot.
You know, if I'm going down, Logan, I'm going down on the sword. And Packers should have lost to Chicago. I think George Kittle's back. I honestly think he's more important in this game than Nick Bosa because I just
don't know.
I think George Kittle's what makes the offense run at the moment. My boy Christian McCaffrey is going to have his breakout game of the season. You're going to be crying as he and Jawan Jennings drop like a combined 50 on you in fantasy. And yeah, I got the Niners. I don't feel great about it.
Having Goff thrown to Amon-Ra.
No, it's going to be a big Tim Patrick, Laporta, J-Mo weekend.
Yeah, right.
Tim Patrick, 2 touchdowns. Just watch 2 touchdowns.
Laporta may not even play, but okay.
They'll call him two Tutty Tim.
So, you know what they call me. They call me the 49ers truther. And not in that way, but
just make your
when I say the 49ers have bad vibes, Luke's take out the headphones. I'm going to keep talking then.
I hear you.
Okay. I thought you took out both. I said the 49ers had bad, or I predicted they'd fall apart at the year after they lost Super Bowl the first time to the Chiefs. They lost Super Bowl to the Chiefs again. And I said I didn't have good vibes. Brandon Ayuk, contract holdout. Trent Williams, contract holdout. Ayuk has now got hurt. Trent Williams doesn't look the same. And there's been tons of other injuries and question marks. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back on that one. And I will be validated after this game. After the next 2 weeks, my revised prediction of 49ers missing playoffs will also be validated. I'm going to take the Packers in this one. And they will shut down Christian McCaffrey somehow. And I know we have Jawan in Dynasty, but we don't need him in Dynasty this week because we're playing team bye week. So I think the Packers are going to win this game, and I think this will be one of the nails in the coffin for the 49ers season.
I'm fine with you picking Packers, but all the other mumbo jumbo you just said, you can move on from.
Another interesting game after my excellent points. Cardinals at the Seahawks. Cardinals are -1. This is a very interesting game. I'm very curious to what
I'm not even going to argue with a single thing you say. But in my head, I was like, the Seahawks are still not good. And I think Arizona's good. But I understand the logic of Arizona's won 4 in a row. I'm not done explaining myself.
Which win was more impressive for the Niners? When the Cardinals beat them or how Seattle beat them?
Cardinals. I think San
You're just saying that.
You had no kicker. No, you had 13 with a minute left. You had 13 points.
Kicker. 49ers had no kicker.
You had 13 points with a minute left. I'm not that impressed. But as I was saying, am I really gonna pick Cardinals win 5 straight? I mean, if you would, last time, if we're like, are you really gonna pick Cardinals win 4 straight? I guess I'll pick them to win 5 straight. I don't like it though. I don't like it.
They haven't played each other yet this year. I think they're gonna split the season series. I'm taking Seattle because I think that win gave them a huge confidence boost going forward. Beating San Francisco, a team you couldn't beat. Geno Smith is 0-5 against them as a starter for the Seattle Seahawks in his career. I like Seattle this one. At home, JSN, he's finally emerged as that at least number 2 offense behind DK Metcalf. I know Arizona's off a bye, but I still don't think they're that great of a team. I know they won 4 straight, but 2 of those wins were on the final play of the game. against the Chargers, against the Dolphins.
I don't love them.
The San Francisco game, I know you said was more impressive, but that was a comeback game with the team with no kicker.
Neither win was that great. Neither win was that great. That's my opinion.
I like Seattle's spot, and I think the NFC West, it's going to be, it's already crazy. It's going to be
Seattle crazy. Cardinals, or no, if Seattle Niners Rams win, it's just like what? Like that's the most crazy outcome. Niners beat Packers, Seahawks beat Cardinals, Rams beat Eagles, and I think that's very plausible.
Talking about the Rams, that's our next game, Sunday Night Football. Eagles at the Rams. Eagles are -3.
And I said that because Eagles or Cardinals Seahawks is the toughest game I had to pick. And I say the thing I just said because I have Rams +3 and money line over the Eagles, and I don't even think the Rams are good. I do not like the Eagles. I don't care about these wins. They don't look good. No matter what I see, I'm like,
Jalen Hurts does not look good. I've been saying it.
I think it's Hurts doesn't look good. And I agree. I'm not acting like a Hurts truther. Like when I said Hurts was like on the same level as Stafford, and I still don't think that's ridiculous because I think Stafford is not playing the same way. He has 2 great receivers right now, and I still think they should be doing more. They should be.
You say the same thing about the Eagles though, and Hurts.
No, but I agree. They should be doing more. But I'm going to take Rams in this one because I do think Stafford is still better than Jalen Hurts. This seems like a classic. Quentin Mitchell's good. He's a really good rookie.
He's a locked corner.
But this seems like the classic rookie gets a lot of hype. Now he has to guard Puka and Cooper Kupp. Kind of gets sauced.
I think he'll guard one of them. He won't be guarding both. I think they're going to put him on.
But it depends. They move around so much. I don't think he's following.
But they've been saying he's playing on one receiver.
But I saw like he plays like 80% of snaps on the left side or something. Because Isn't McLaurin played like 90% of snaps on the other side. But I don't know if he followed him. I did see that they played against each other a lot, but I don't know if that was happenstance. But yeah, I think he gets kind of sauced around by Kupp or Puka, whoever it is.
Yeah, I have Rams in this one as well. I think if this game was in Philadelphia, I think it would more suit Eagles. Of course, they're at home, loud fans. Your defense is playing really well. I do not trust Jalen Hurts at all. I have not been.
I don't trust him either, man.
I've never been a huge Jalen Hurts guy. Even when he went to Super Bowl, right after that, it was just like I thought that was a fluke. And I still think he's had one good year in his career. I'm going to trust Stafford. I'm going to trust Sean McVay over Sirianni. I think the coaching.
Yeah, Sirianni. The coaching's not good. I don't care what their record is.
No. And so I'm going to take the Rams in this one. Eagles look pretty bad on Thursday night. They won because Saquon broke 2 long touchdown runs. So I'm going to take the Rams as well. So we agree on that one.
Hey, quick next game. Note, my K-State Wildcats men's basketball team is only up 2 at half against Mississippi Valley State. That's tough. That's tough.
Wait, you say men's or women's team?
Men's. No, the women's team is really good. The men's team. Yeah.
Yeah. Another, I think, rah-rah coach. But that's
he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude.
Ravens at the Chargers. Ravens are -3 in the spot.
I'm going to surprise you. Give me the Chargers. I have Chargers winning this game, and it goes against so much of my logic and the fact that I was very rude to Justin Herbert during the second half, as Logan knows watching it, and I was getting very upset with him for many reasons.
Some of the comments were very rude.
No, it's one of Justin Herbert. I think I like Justin Herbert, but I don't know if there's a single quarterback who makes me more upset watching. Because you see I think he's the most accurate, gotta fit it in a tight circle quarterback in the league. I think he's honestly like the best since Brady or Breeze. Just like can only throw it in this exact spot. He hits it, but he still screws up. But I was thinking about it. I like the Chargers matchup. Lad McConkey should have a good game. I feel like this is like a Quentin Johnston gets a bomb type of game.
He runs wide open on go route.
Chargers defense is good. I mean, you saw Higgins and Chase do that, but I mean, the Ravens' offensive weapons. Zay Flowers is probably not better than Higgins, and Higgins is a 2. And I feel like I like Chargers. I don't know if you're surprised by that, but give me Chargers.
I am surprised by it, especially the fact that Ravens lost. I also have Chargers in this game. I think I like the Chargers. I think they actually match up pretty well with Ravens. I don't know if they'll be able to run against Baltimore. Baltimore is a really good run defense, but I trust Justin Herbert more than Lamar Jackson. In big games, I trust Justin Herbert.
I still can't say that. Herbert screwed up in big games.
Okay. But in big games with Lamar, I'm going to take the better prototypical quarterback. I think Lamar presents more with his legs and arm combined. But I think Herbert throwing the ball is a better quarterback throwing the ball. And at home, I actually trust Jim Harbaugh way more than I trust John Harbaugh. I don't think he's been that great this year. And I think that may be something that may be controversial. I do not think he's been great.
No, yeah, I think you're 7-4 with this team and how well you've played. No, yeah, not his best year coaching. I agree. Not his best year coaching.
And they face Eagles next week, which if Eagles lose this week, like we think they will, that could spell some problems for Eagles. But I like the Chargers in a spot. I think they're going to expose Ravens' defense. I like the Chargers. And I was quite surprised that you picked.
I can't believe I agree. We agreed on a lot. Like what we disagreed on was
Seattle, Arizona.
The only two money lines we disagreed on were Packers, Cardinals, but I felt like that was kind of easy this week. But we disagreed on.
Oh, we disagreed on Bears, Vikings. We had 3 disagreements.
Wait, did you?
I had Bears winning.
Oh,
I had Bears winning, and that's not because of our bet.
I had Cowboys covering, but I didn't like it. Yeah, we agreed on a lot this week for next week's games.
Yeah. Anything else? I mean, like I said, I'm just going to give you this heads up. You are not going to be happy next week.
Blah, 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 blah.
When
someone's in second place and just had their best week of the season. I am about to gain a lot of momentum. I have you right.
Can you tell me? Just quick before can you tell me how many more points I have than you? And I know you have one more.
That doesn't matter. It's about who's getting points now, not because of your early season points.
I had 155 this week.
I had 170 something.
Oh,
you're screwed.
You just said because of early season.
The Niners, Juwan Jennings, Chris McCaffrey gonna do a lot. 2 tutties for Tim Patrick, 2 tutties for J-Mo. David Montgomery is getting a tutty. It's gonna be a reception as well. You're gonna lose, and just wait till this waiver wire pickup I'm about to make. I don't think anyone's talking.
Are you playing this player in the lineup? I'm scared. Are you playing this player in the lineup?
Oh yeah. Unless someone steals him from me, which I'd be surprised.
I think you're putting him in for Judy, unless Judy's already out of your lineup.
I'm not gonna say anything more, but I got this.
If your secret sauce is gonna be your waiver wire pickup to beat me, then good luck.
Hey man. Juwan James was a waiver wire pickup a couple weeks ago. Look what he just did.
I got Brian Robinson against Dallas. I got Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, Dallas can cover, and it's a David Montgomery week, so
I don't know if you watched it. It's a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs week every week.
Nah, this is a big. David's running for like 150 and 2.
Okay, Jahmyr's catching all your touchdowns and Amon-Ra.
No, he's not. No, it's gonna be a Tim Patrick double tutty week.
Amon-Ra's caught 100% of his targets like in multiple weeks with Jared Goff.
It's gonna be. I kind of am, but I have to play.
Well, yeah, it's either him or Richardson. So,
and I'm not gonna play Richardson.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna give myself the edge. I'm pretty confident I win this week. I think
just maybe not watch that game and just like let the results.
I think Luke's last place schedule, and even after this week, he'll still have a last place schedule because his schedule's just been so soft. It's been he plays nobody.
Hey, man. I think my opponent had the 3rd most points this week.
Okay, and the opponent you're
facing had the
2nd most. My quarterback scored 2 points this past week, and I dropped 150.
Well, that's because you make bad fantasy football decisions. Oh, wait, your opponent had more points than mine. But not by a lot. By a lot.
What? Well, yeah.
I dropped 170 points, man. 174.
I'm not just saying it. But if we read your whole schedule the entire year, it's a lot of cupcakes.
174.48, man.
I'm beating you this week. I'm beating you.
Good luck.
That's my weekly goal this week. But that will do it for our episode this week of Laser Bros Podcast. We will be back next week where Luke will be in his sorrows. We'll talk about the Week 12 games. We'll preview the Thanksgiving games, which we're finally here at Thanksgiving. Even though Thanksgiving games have not been good, or they're not. I don't think they're going to be good. I don't think. Yeah. But we'll be back next week with another recap and more of our picks.
Peace.